Hey guys, sorry for this video being so late. I didn't realize that this event started this week. I'm currently in Casablanca in Morocco for ISF. Didn't realize I had to record a video while I was on the road, so we'll make this one quick to make up for it. I am claiming playoffs went pretty well for me. I said I was aiming for a top 20% finish, got top 24, but that was with FaZe losing and with Na'Vi losing. I assumed that both those teams would win. I thought Na'Vi would win overall. And I also feel that if Apex didn't overperform in the playoffs, I probably had a top 20% draft just because he was in so many drafts. But yeah, I can't really complain with a top 24%. Let's take a look at Blast. So this event is actually kind of hard to draft just because it is single elimination. Only 2 teams make it through. So inherently, whoever you're drafting is going to have a massive amount of risk just because of the single elimination format. Because of that, I think it's actually not too bad to go for more risky teams rather than trying to follow the crowd. I think a lot of people are going to be drafting FaZe and VP, and probably a combination of the two, just because they have very easy opening games. They have the most one-sided opening games, I would say. However, I think FaZe's second round game is really difficult. Cloud9 or Pain can both upset, so any of those 3 teams could end up in that semi. I think this next stage is actually a little bit more straightforward, where this should be Heroic and NIP every day of the week. I think Heroic win that. I think they're the team that I actually have the most confidence in making to the semi-final out of any of these teams, just because I think they have the easier quarterfinal compared to the rest. You could make a case for VP, but they lost to Big recently. They could do it again. Even Gamer Legion could beat VP. Like, I have no confidence in VP at the moment. I'm not going to be drafting them. They've betrayed me too many times. Falcons and Complexity, we expect them to meet here. I don't think either will be upset. Metasport's form has fallen off completely since the start of the year. They've made roster changes. I'm not rating them. M80 obviously no longer have their star, so Falcons, with the resurgence of form, remember they almost beat FaZe the other day. I think they could beat Complexity. I think Complexity can win that, like they did in Young Shipping. So again, that's a tough one to call. So yeah, I think wherever you want to go with this draft, don't be afraid to make the risk, just because inherently every draft here is going to be risky. And actually avoiding teams like VP and FaZe is maybe even less risky, just because you won't go down with the shift like everyone else. So keep that in mind when you draft. So looking at players, well, we're starting with FaZe. I'm going to say right now, I think the only player worth drafting on this team is Rain. There's a case to be made for Carrigan just because he's cheap and his price hasn't been inflated, but so many people have picked Robs. Guys, this guy wasn't worth 196k literally 5 days ago. He is not worth 215k today. Do not get Robs. I just feel like that's a massive mistake for that price. If you want to spend that much on a FaZe player, get Frozen maybe, but honestly, I think any of the goals is a huge mistake. VP, it's really hard for me to even look at any of these players and feel good about picking them, but maybe Flit or Fame, but honestly, nothing is inspiring about VP at the moment. For Complexity, Elite's too expensive, JT is too expensive, Halzek's too expensive, but Floppy and Grim, they're just right. Floppy is actually incredible value for 193, and I think Grim is quite good. So yeah, one of those 2. For Falcons, I think that the only players, again, worth getting here are probably Magisk. A case can be made for Madden, but I think the recent form of Magisk has just been fantastic, so I'd be going him. Snappy if you really want to go double up here with a cheapie, or you can just get both of these guys and go a bit more heavy on Falcons if you think they can do the run, but some Pius and Dupree, too expensive. Same story with Dexter. I don't think any of these players that are above like 210 are worth it. However, I think Nerds is probably the best value player you can get this event. I will be drafting Nerds, I'm telling you right now. I cannot pass up on 209k for Nerds, especially because I think Heroic can get to that semi-final even if they lose it. I think Nerds is a great value pick. Tessus is at the same price, I don't think is worth it, but you could get both of them. I think Shush is okay. His recent form's not been the best though, and Kixin I think is too expensive. For Pain, I think the player I'm looking at here is Lux. However, Pain have a difficult bracket with Cloud9 as their opener, so I wouldn't double up on them, but I think Lux has really stood up when it comes to playing Tier 1 in Europe. NIP have a good run like Heroic, so I think that they're definitely a team that if you think can beat Heroic, are worth investing into. Personally, I think Rez, Maxter, really good choices, but Isaac, Wrinkle, there's cases to be made for all of these players. I wouldn't double up on Big just because of the bracket. I don't know if they win the rematch. However, they're pretty cheap, so it wouldn't cost you too much to get them. CSN is probably the best value. I don't mind Crimbo either. M80 without their star, I don't think they win their opening game. I don't think they win the follow-up game if they do win that opening game. And I think that Slacks and Lake are just too expensive, and they're the players you'd want to get. Gamer Legion, though, they're super cheap for a couple of players. Vault for 181, I think, is a sleeper little budget pick compared to like Snappy or Carrigan, especially because I feel that Gamer Legion can actually be big. I think Flams is also really good value for 194, so I do think I'd double up on them, but you could easily take a cheap dip here without really risking too much. I wouldn't be drafting Zero Tenacity. I think Cloud9, Inters, 180 is kind of interesting if you want a budget choice, similar to Vault, but I think Vault's maybe better. And if you really want to get one player from Cloud9, I'd get Icy. He's only a little bit more expensive than Axile, and I think it's just the better player in terms of consistency. So yeah, for fantasy, he's the choice. Wouldn't get OG, wouldn't get Random, wouldn't get Metasploit. Anyway, guys, straight to the point, this is my draft. I decided that I wanted 2 pillar players. They were Rain and Nerds. I wanted 1 phase player. I didn't want to miss out on phase if they do that run, which they are favorites to do, but I didn't think that like any other player on that team was worth getting for their price. So Rain, he was the guy to go. I wanted Nerds just because of the cheap price tag, and I feel that Heroic can do it. I think Heroic can meet phase in that qualifying match. I don't know if they win it, but I think they've got a good chance of getting there just with the path they have. And Nerds, really good value. I did want to get Tesses alongside him, but it's a little bit too expensive. It meant I would have had to have gone Floppy instead of Grim. And I really didn't want to get Floppy as well as Rain and having like 2 of the most picked players. I wanted Grim. You know, it's a lot more firepower. Shush can have those pop-off games, even if he's had some low lows recently. I still believe in him. So those 4 players I feel are pretty good. And then Foles as a cheap player, I think for 181, there's a good chance that I'll get a good return on that investment. I think Gamer Legion can beat big, and they have a chance to be VP. I was fairly impressed with them at recent events, so we'll see. I'll be honest with you, this is one of the hardest events I've drafted in a minute. Didn't really enjoy it. I don't like single elimination without like different groups and stuff. It's always tough to draft. You always feel like you're gonna make the wrong choice, so I tried to hedge my bets here a little bit. I'm expecting top 30, top 40, maybe. I'll be happy with that. This probably isn't a top 10% draft, but I love it if it happens. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think. Let me know what you're doing, what cool drafts have you come up with, and good luck.